YNs are harassing people. YNs are disturbing the peace. YNs are going wild. POV, you're a YN. YNs are taking over. YNs must be stopped. The idea that young black teens are a danger to society is something the internet is trying to get you to believe right now. Even NPC Miles Morales himself turned into a thug.
I should get roses to my bitch. Big chains, big money, big everything. Talking about get your money up, check my pockets a little.
Every day I'm seeing a new viral video about hoodlums that are in every profession disturbing the peace at any moment's notice.
Itching to shoot this bitch, twin. Do not let this security fool your ass, twin.
A YN just means a young N-word, and it just describes black youth who don't care about your life, my life, or even their own.
They're ready to crash out about anything like a goddamn Minecraft creeper
or Datara's final jutsu if you're into anime. To sum it all up, the funny, hilarious meme of the month that the internet decided to make viral is young black teens inhaling forbidden air out of whipped cream cans and throwing their life away over the smallest incidental thing.
And the craziest part is that's not even black culture. Like when I went to the UK like 9 years ago, by the way, England truly is New York with fish and chips, phone booths, red phone booths, and bad dental. Let's just be honest here. But I was over there because I used to play rugby, so I went to go play for a team, and they were talking about smoking helium and nitrogen, and that was popular over there. That's not even really a part of black culture, but I have seen that recently it's becoming popular in America, and I don't understand why you would ever do that. That's crazy to me. I don't understand it, but that's not even really a part of black culture, but it's definitely becoming associated with it because it's more popular here. It's starting to be popular here.
Things. Hilarious, right? You might not have been able to see that, but I just slapped my knee. Now, I think I speak for all average black people when I say I can safely denounce all of these activities. We do not condone any acts or practices performed by these YNs. But I feel like a trend like this creates a new viral stereotype that categorizes all hood people, or even any black people in general,
as YNs.
Violence, aggression, and being an overall school threat crash out is not an inherently black trait. There are crash outs who are Hispanic, Asian, etc., but for some reason, this trend is about young black people and not young people in general.
Yeah, and you can tell that it's a cultural issue, by the way, because even black kids that have two-parent households and good grades that are athletes or they own the chess club, eventually they start to feel the urge to start to behave this way in order to relate to their culture. For some reason, this is an issue in the black community, and it is an issue between rich and poor people in general, but it seems to be exacerbated in the black community. Because of the glorification of the struggle, people in the black community sometimes feels like you shouldn't get a say unless you are from the struggle or are currently in the struggle. That's a big issue with black America. Yeah, and anybody that is outside of the struggle is associated with whiteness. Like, just because you're well-spoken, they'll consider you to be, or some black folks will consider you to be white, which doesn't make any, just because you can't put together a sentence, it doesn't make you black. It makes you stupid. And it's this weird thing where if you're from a more privileged background or your parents put together their lives in a way to get you out of a bad neighborhood, for some reason you can't give advice to people who are in the bad neighborhoods, which doesn't really make sense because you would assume if you've gotten out of that situation, you would be better to advise people to get out of that situation. But for some reason, it's like it's looked down upon to have a two-parent household and to be from a good neighborhood in the African-American community. It's just weird. Like, no, we want to live good. We don't want no struggles over here. I don't want to have to dodge bullets. We in the suburbs. We living good. Forget all that.
There is already an issue of black people being seen as extra aggressive, violent creatures. Trends like this can kind of exacerbate that issue. And it's only a matter of time until a white Karen starts bothering black kids and then hits them with the, oh, just them YNs at it again. But it's weird because this is the stuff that goes viral. But meanwhile, the black kids who are into rock, anime, etc. are called goofy, corny, whitewashed,
and a whole lot more.
Growing up, and that only happens by the people in the black culture, in the black community. The only people who look down on black anime folks are people in the black community. The only people who look down on black folks that got their stuff together and are well-spoken are other black people from the poorer communities. It's a weird thing. So it isn't really like an outside going after the black nerds, but it's definitely a fight between the black nerds and the black niggas. If you get what I'm saying.
I vividly remember getting deep fried myself for being into an anime called Beyblade, writing in cursive, or even listening to Logic.
Okay, maybe Logic.
Well, I deserved it. But Let It Rip is top tier peak fiction, bro. Now, I know this phenomenon isn't unique to the black community, and odds are you watching this video might not be black, but probably experience something extremely similar. As we speak, Asians are getting clowned for being extremely cringe. Mexicans get clowned for a goofy haircut, aka the Edgar haircut.
But the joke of blacks in this last month is losing your life, addiction,
the destruction of our youth, and at the same time, the young black people who are trying to stay positive and do positive things and stay out the way are called cringe, corny, and nerdy.
No, who got the worst look right now is Indian folks, bro. Like the memes, and it's like they seem to lean into it because the content creators in India can make money from looking disgusting and being disgusting with the street food.
Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go on, still do. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, go on, do what you do.
But that's become a big trend online for Indian people to just do disgusting stuff with their street food in order to push the stereotype, really, of Indian people being dirty. Like, they push that stereotype because a few minority can make money. The same issue happens in the black community. All them gangsters and all them thugs, they push that image so a small minority of them can make a lot of money in the entertainment industry, but at the cost of the image of average black people who are just living their lives.
I don't want to sound like a pretentious virtue signaler. On the surface, I can see how videos like this could be funny. I've even laughed at the trend myself before. I'm no better than you. That being said, it is never a bad thing to want better for your people or people in general. The first step towards improvement is accountability. Yes, I made that quote up. Save the applause for the end of the video. So given the fact that we can always improve as a society, we will be discussing the problems with black youth today and some potential solutions in order to find out what's really plaguing young black people today. Even though this video is primarily going to be about black youth in general, it encompasses a larger topic of just the youth in general, you know what I'm saying?
So if you're white, Hispanic, Asian, black,
a lot of the stuff that is discussed in this video, you're probably going to be able to attribute to your own people. Now, let's begin. Glorification of the wrong things. Now, out of the two biggest problems in today's video, I feel like glorification of the wrong things is the best way to summarize all the subtopics within one large category, you know what I'm saying? For example, things like thought culture, baby mama culture, promiscuity, if that's the right word. I feel like I did not pronounce that right.
I definitely did not pronounce that right.
And all the things like that, which essentially helps promote single-parent households. If I put up all the negative statistics for single-parent households regarding those kids, it's going to be some very, very terrible Will Chamberlain numbers. There's also things like substance abuse, which is heavily promoted in American culture in general. Like, if you know what whippets are, and while everybody's laughing at them, it is genuinely a serious issue that is plaguing black youth, especially in places like Atlanta. I don't really understand the appeal of inhaling air that makes you sound like goddamn Bane himself, but who am I to judge? Psych, I'm judging, bro, I'm judging. I know that you can't force a viral meme, but things go viral based on how you interact with it, and that's kind of how algorithms work. I want you to ask yourself, you watching this video, what is actually funny about people losing their lives? It's more of like a damn, that's crazy. You laugh at it maybe for a second and then you're like, damn, that's actually crazy. That's actually sad. That's actually really sad.
That's actually something that we should try to like do something about, you know?
Because for the people who are genuinely crashing out, regardless of race, there must be some type of mental health deficiency that you're facing that we don't know about.
Mental health.
It is a canon event of all black people to have a black parent who's like borderline abusive, bro. If you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. It's called childhood trauma, my brother. Now shake my hand. And with the childhood trauma or trauma in general, a lot of black people do not get the right proper services or care that they might need to fix their mental health problems. Some of the solutions I quickly thought up: not interacting with certain content because it negatively affects black people as a whole, makes us look worse, and at the very least, make it feel like it's okay and not soft to get mental help. Society in general could have more emphasis on education and two-parent households. I feel like an issue that doesn't get talked about nearly enough is the fact that there's such an emphasis on.
See, I agree with the two-parent households, but I don't really agree with the education. I know that sounds crazy, hot take. I think that black men do way better when we in trades, especially because we believe that the system is against us. And if you believe the system is against you, then you're going to be less likely to get hired in that system, right? So why not then go into the trades where you can create your own opportunities and be useful in your community? Like, when you have this conversation, like, some people will start talking about IQ, right? Like, they start talking about the shapes of skulls and whatnot. And regardless of, which I don't believe, by the way, but regardless of that argument, IQ doesn't reflect criminality. And just because you don't have a high IQ doesn't mean you can't be useful in your community, even if that was the problem, which I don't believe that's the problem. I believe it's a cultural issue and a push to behave a certain way. But if you have a skill, you're useful in your community, and you feel useful as a person, you feel like you have a purpose because you can help the people around you. And that comes from being able to use your hands, having a trade, having a skill. Even as a grown man with a decent amount of money, because y'all watch my videos, I still feel the need. It's still very useful for me to have a skill, because at the end of the day, being able to fix something, you're always going to be useful regardless. You're always going to have a way to make money for yourself if you feel like you aren't given opportunities. I think that's what we've lost in the African-American community. I think there's an over pursuit of just pointless degrees and an under pursuit of trades that can help you be useful in poor communities, like being able to fix things, especially in communities that's ridden with single family, single mother households. You can be useful. It's like we don't have those people anymore that's good with their hands that can fix something for cheap. Even if you're not the smartest guy, you can still be useful in your neighborhood if you know how to use your hands. It's a skill that nobody can take from you, especially with the AI starting to take a lot of those white-collar jobs and even the blue-collar jobs being replaced with automation. It's going to be a long time before we can replace trade jobs with artificial intelligence in any kind of way. So if you want to feel useful, push those black boys into being able to use their hands so nobody can take opportunities from them. They can create their own opportunities. I think that there's an overemphasis on education amongst black men. I think that we're far better with using our hands and creating those opportunities for ourselves.
On athletics compared to education. Everything is always surrounded on the sport. You eat, live, breathe, die by the sport you play. You should be playing by elementary or you're not going to make it to the big leagues. But statistically speaking, if we look at the percentages, the amount of people who genuinely go pro is very, very minuscule. There you go. Slim to none at that. What happens after? Most likely those hoop dreams die out. And when a huge chunk of your youth is spent playing a certain sport and you realize you can't make it, there is a huge amount of depression that hits you.
It's like, damn, I'm a failure. What do I do in life? I didn't pay attention in school for real.
What major am I going to pick? Am I going to go to college? Am I going to be a certified HVAC technician? I don't know. It's like a whole new avenue of life is unlocked, and that can be extremely scary. I was exactly the person that I'm describing, but a lot of the people I know, they stopped playing and then they went to the streets because it's like, damn,
I'm not that great in school.
I don't know what to do now.
Exactly. I'm not that great in school. Turn to the streets instead of turning to a trade because that option is never promoted to them. You could be useful with a trade. You don't have to go straight to the streets. You can find a way to make money with your hands. The more you do it, the better you're good at it, or the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more you get paid when you do it.
And smoking Russian creamy blunts all day.
So I say that to say an emphasis on education compared to athletics is much more ideal. Obviously, play your sport to the fullest extent. Please make it pro for the rest of us, bro. But at the same time, you should not be neglecting your education while putting your athletics up on a pedestal, because what happens if those don't pan out? Now, the second biggest problem in the black community, I would describe as self-hate. From a very young age, black people are often taught to hate themselves. That's how things like colorism, texturism, people wear wigs to cover their natural hair. Some people skin bleach. I almost did that myself, actually, when I was younger.
The darker you are, the less desirable. That's the way society is.
And while black people are being taught from a young age that being whiter is technically better, other black people are being told that they're whitewashed and they're not really a real black person. Speaking traditional English, having white friends, liking anime, gaming, wearing glasses get you called whitewashed. Yeah. See, the problem with calling these people whitewashed is that black community sees them as whitewashed. Meanwhile, everybody who's not black sees them as black. You know what I'm saying? So who do you belong to, bro? The goddamn white people who are like, oh, you're one of the good blacks. You're one of the
Two white for the black kids and two black for the white kids. That's where you end up in those situations.
Good black people, you're one of us. You can genuinely tell when someone is whitewashed when they think they're better than people who are from the hood because they're smarter. You can tell when somebody's on that Uncle Ruckus type of timing. Brief intermission. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Turn on post notifications. According to YouTube statistics, about 80% or more of you are actually still unsubscribed. Now hear me out when I say this, because sometimes you can't blame certain black people for being whitewashed. You're taught that speaking in Ebonics is low-key ghetto. Your hair that naturally grows out of your head is extremely unprofessional.
Even black names like Daquan and stuff are seen as extremely unprofessional.
Which is why you get so many black people who are like James Brown Smith.
But let's just be honest with the hair thing, though. Even if a white guy shows up to a corporate office with a man bun, he's going to be seen the same way. Sure, it comes out of his head, but if he has a man bun in, he's going to be seen a certain way. Usually, even generally white men that have their hair lower than shoulder length is seen as unprofessional. Let's just be completely honest about that. So I think sometimes people outcry about things that aren't big issues and claim that it's because we're black. But, you know, like that one in specifically, yeah, there's a certain standard that you have to keep yourself in the corporate world. That's how they see you as professional, and it does reflect on your sales. Like all that stuff affects how the company is seen. It reflects how people see you. It reflects in the sales and how much you contribute to the company. So yeah, you have to be presentable. I know that's crazy to some people, but yeah, you got to be presentable. And being corporate, yeah, you have to be presentable.
Myth. Black parents are trying to make sure that their kids have a job, bro. I think it's better.
Again, that's why you have your own trade. You don't have to worry about being corporate if you can use your hands. Nobody care about you having dreadlocks if you're the plumber. But if you trying to slang real estate or you trying to slang insurance, people might see it a different way. You might not get as many sales unless you're very clean cut with your dreads. You might not be seen the same way, and some companies don't want to be represented in that way. Like I know even for a beard, if you have a beard and you're a younger guy in corporate, you're looked as people don't like it because they see beards as wisdom. So even just little things like that, it's seen differently. I don't know how to explain it. It's just seen. There are certain rules to corporate and how you're supposed to carry yourself, and you have to be able to acknowledge them and operate in that way. But if, like I said, if you have trades, then you can wear your hair however you want. Nobody cares if the electrician has dreads.
To take self-hating black people and try to teach them why certain things are wrong and certain behaviors are actually false. Obviously, if those people are full-on Uncle Ruckus, like can't be helped, you know, they can't be helped, you know what I'm saying? If a person says something kind of anti-black, you know, you correct them and be like, yo, because some people just don't know. Now, some solutions to the problem would include more emphasis and praise towards maybe black creators or just black people in general who break that stereotype of nerdy being bad, RDC, Dante, even Megan Thee Stallion or Duke Dennis. Creators I mentioned make being a nerd cool, bro. I will say it's definitely a lot better than it has been. Some people do get mad and it's like, oh, you weren't there when we were getting bullied in class. But like, if you're a real anime head or a real nerd, you want better for the community anyway. So, you know what I'm saying? Why would you want those people to suffer the same way we did? What makes a nerd corny and a thug not corny? What does corny even mean? In conclusion, I feel like the glorification of the wrong things and self-hate culture is a very big thing that plagues black youth today. But those are just my thoughts. I've already made different videos about problems in the black community, and there's lots of videos about problems in general, but rarely videos about solutions. So I feel like I would offer, you know, a couple different solutions that came in my mind. But let me know down below in the comments what you think.
I could tell you a big part of the problem right now, and I could tell you a huge solution to it potentially. I think obviously I think the solution is getting into trades and having young black boys feel like they have meaning because they can help the people around them and help their communities, even if they aren't granted opportunities by the people that the culture claims hates them, white folks, essentially. But also I think a big part of the issue is all the families that are like units, all the good professional black men that could be role models in these situations, they're out of the communities because the culture pushes things like no snitching, which undermined the black mechanic and the black doctor who were working together, who were living in the neighborhoods next to they when segregation happened, you had the doctors and the mechanics living in the neighborhoods with all these issues, and they could help mediate situations. They were bringing business into the community. Their money was in the community. Their influence was in the community. But with the culture change and the stuff like no snitching, it undermined those people's authority to protect their own neighborhoods. So we leaned into protecting the kids that was doing the wrong instead of promoting the men that were trying to go against that wrong in order to protect their own families. So now those men who have influence and all their money, they leave the communities to run to the suburbs. Now the segregation's done. They going by the white folks to be living in peace. And I feel them because as a man, your number one priority is your own personal family. And I'm not going to stay in a neighborhood and get robbed because I have a nice truck in my garage. I'm not going to have that happen. So they're leaving. You can't blame them because they're leaving to protect their families. But what happens is all that money and influence leaves the neighborhood. So now the only thing in the neighborhood is over aggression amongst the black kids because they have single mothers that don't know how to control a young boy's aggression. A mother by herself cannot teach a young boy to control his anger because she doesn't have a level of authority. When a father's in the house, he has a level of authority that teaches a boy he can't use his anger to get through his issues. So boys have to learn how to deal with issues diplomatically. When you just have single motherhood in these communities because there are certain incentives from the government to push the men out of the households, you get chaos because those women can't control that anger amongst those young men. So yeah, that's a big issue. The culture pushed those professional black men who were making money out of their communities for the sake of their own safety, and I can't blame them. But that's part of the issue, and the solution to that issue is letting these boys get into trades. They have to feel useful. Boys need purpose. Unlike women, women have an innate purpose. They give birth to children. That's how if a woman can lollygag her whole life, and many of them will find fulfillment and purpose through having a child. So they have an innate purpose. Boys have to find a purpose. So to find their purpose, give them something that makes them feel purposeful. Give them something that makes them feel useful. I think the solution to this is promoting trades in the black community so young boys could feel useful. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or a L, and give me the HBO special. That's a Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.